नाम है रक्षित, बट आई एम श्योर आप में से बहुत लोग मुझे जानते होंगे फ्रॉम यूट्यूब वेयर आई मेक फुटबॉल वीडियोज़। ओवर द कमिंग वीक्स एंड मंथ्स मैं प्रीव्यू करूंगा सम ऑफ द बिगेस्ट मैचेस फ्रॉम अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड फॉर वीयू स्पोर्ट्स स्काउट्स। व्यू स्पोर्ट्स स्काउट्स में हम डेटा और एनालिटिक्स के बेसिस पे आपको सजेस्ट करेंगे कुछ टैक्टिकल ट्रेंड्स जो आपको टीम बनाने में हेल्प कर सकते हैं। आज के शो में आई एम utterly privileged and honored to be with the captain of the Indian football team and my favorite Indian footballer of all time, Sunil Chhetri. Welcome, Sunil.
Thank you so much, my friend.
So, Sunil, just to start off with you had a very grueling ISL campaign. So, what have you been up to since then?
Well, I took an off, completely switched off, had a mini vacation which I enjoyed. बिना सोचे समझे जो मन में आया खाया and I completely enjoyed it. I just let loose and yeah, was very relaxing and enjoyable, especially after the kind of bubble life we had. Not only this season, but also last 2 years has been all under the bubble. चाहे वो क्लब के लिए हो, फिर national duties हो, फिर दोबारा क्लब के लिए हो, in between national duties again. So yes, after a long time, had a really good off.
Glad to see that you had some time off. So Sunil, let's talk about. So we are previewing Arsenal versus Chelsea, or Chelsea versus Arsenal, which is a very pivotal match when you talk about the top 4 race in the Premier League. So let us talk about Chelsea first. Now they won the FA Cup semi-final against Crystal Palace, but on the flip side they were knocked out by Real Madrid in the Champions League semi-final, in the Champions League quarter-final, in a match they played really well, by the way. So what is your overall assessment of the current season Chelsea are having?
Did you watch the game?
Yeah, I did.
The last one. I was in Paris.
Okay.
And we were having dinner, me and my wife, and we watched there. And she was cribbing कि यहाँ आकर भी आपने मैच देखना है. मैंने बोला ये मैच मिस मत करना आप. What a game! I think for a certain period of time at that game, I thought they were going to qualify.
Yeah.
Not only because of the goal advantage they had, but also because of the way they were playing. Outstanding. Especially after the first game they played against Real Madrid. To come back like that was extremely a confident show. That's what they have showed after that, coming back and doing the way they are playing in the league and then the cup match. So I think they are a very strong team. Like a Man City, they have a very good bench strength also, which comes really really handy. And think about this. अगर आपको मैंने बोला था 3 महीने पहले कि लुकाकू नहीं होंगे for a lot of games, but they will still not miss a number 9. That's the kind of strength they have, and they are very formidable. I'm pretty sure if you ask the Chelsea team or Tuchel, the coach, they will be not very happy with missing out the Champions League spot and where they are. But they are a very very strong unit, and they are playing really well right now.
They really are mentality monsters, जिसे कहते हैं. So they lost to Brentford at home. Then they lost at home to Real Madrid.
Yes.
But they bounced back spectacularly. They beat Southampton 6-0. Then they beat Real Madrid, of course. Very unfortunate to go out. But as you can see, they progressed to the final of the FA Cup again. So under Tuchel, Chelsea really have become these mentality monsters. And I'm pretty sure they'll come away with a trophy at the end of the season. Let's talk about Arsenal now. So again, Mikel Arteta was under a lot of pressure at the beginning of the season. They lost their first 3 matches, including a 1 to Chelsea. After that, the middle part of the season was very good. And they went on a long unbeaten streak, and Arteta was getting a lot of plaudits. But last 3 matches, of course, Sunil वो हार चुके हैं. So you have been playing for a long time. How does Arteta bounce back from 3 consecutive defeats and push for a place in the top 4 at the end of the season?
Well, it's going to be difficult. I think एक चीज़ जो, and I'm pretty sure he and the whole team must be doing, is not to think too much about the points lost. Of course, you learn from your mistakes जो आपने उन 3 गेमों में किया है. And I'm pretty sure they're doing it. But one thing really helps is try and not think about the feeling that you have after a loss. Because, before 3 games, as we all know, they were quite comfortable in the top 4 position, which is very, very important for a team like Arsenal. And now suddenly after 3 games, they are in a spot where they again have to fight back to come in the top 4, which is not going to be easy with the teams ahead of them. Tottenham and Man United are not just easy teams. So I think mentality-wise, they must be down. Also, having a lot of injury problems does not help. So I just hope that they can, I don't know how, but clean the slate.
Right.
And just think about one game against Chelsea. Again, one of the worst places to travel and play a game, especially the kind of form Chelsea are in. But if you're going to think too much about what has happened in the last 3 games, it is not going to help. And if you see the comparison, there's so many youngsters in this Arsenal team where you compare it to Chelsea. So that's where training and conditioning your mentality is going to be easier for a team like Chelsea. And that's why Arteta and the team has their work cut out, because no matter what, it's not going to be easy. But as a fan of Premier League, what I would love to see is them going all out and not being scared. That will give us a very good game.
So Sunil, let me put you on the spot. Who is going to finish in the top 4? Who is going to finish in that coveted 4th spot at the end of the season?
Yeah, I think the first 3 we already think is what is going to happen. Man, it's you know, my brain tells me pick Tottenham. All my friends who are Arsenal supporters are going to kill me when they see this. After what Ronaldo did, you can never put him out of the game. He's somebody who is a winner, has a winner mentality. He pushes the whole team. Man U has a great bunch of talented players. I hope I'm wrong, but I think Tottenham might inch away.
Interesting. So let us talk about the match. So how do you see Chelsea versus Arsenal panning out? Do you see it as a high intensity, high scoring match? Do you see it as a low scoring match? Do you think either side can keep a clean sheet in this one? Basically, how do you see the match going?
I think at the start we will see both of them being a little bit skeptical. That's the way Chelsea plays.
Right.
You know, even if we call it a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2 or you know a 3-4-2-1, they are somebody where everyone comes back and defends for the team. That's the way they play. And with Arsenal now there is a catch whether you go all out and then you leave spaces behind you, or you make sure if Martinelli and Saka they push so that Alonso or Reece James, if they are playing, they are pinned back, because that is comfort then. Because if they both are bombing in towards your defenders, it is not too comfortable. But I think it's a catch-22 situation where either you think, okay, fine, we'll go attacking and make sure the likes of Reece James and Alonso do not have a lot of freedom to come, or you sit back and allow Chelsea the ball position. So I think starting we will see both teams being a little bit skeptical. I think the first goal really dictates the way the game is going to go. For neutrals, I think it's better if Arsenal scores, because then you'll see a more interesting game. If Chelsea score first, then it's going to be a long battle for Arsenal.
Right. So, बात करते हैं injuries की. So, both teams are going to miss some important players in the starting lineups. So, Chelsea की अगर बात करें, Kovacic has been a very important player, especially in the last 2 months for Chelsea. The defensive solidity he provides in the middle of the park has been very essential to Chelsea keeping a lot of clean sheets. Similarly, अगर आप Arsenal की बात करो, so another rock in the midfield, Thomas Partey, who I feel is a really important cog in their wheel, is going to be missing this match. Kieran Tierney, their left back, a very important creative outlet on the wing. He is also ruled out of this match. So, which team do you think will be able to manage these injuries better in this match?
I think Chelsea will be. But all the 3 players that we talked about are very important for the respective teams. What Kovacic provides when compared to Kante or Jorginho is more attacking ability, more technical ability, more finding the last pass ability. But then, as we said, as we have already talked about this, that if Kovacic is not there, maybe Kante and Jorginho is going to play, and they are all top world-class players. As far as Arsenal is concerned, they're going to miss their top players more than Chelsea. That's where teams like Chelsea and Man City do well, because they have a huge depth of the same kind of players, same kind of experienced players. So I think in injury concerns, Arsenal is going to be the one who's going to struggle a little bit more than Chelsea.
Right. So let's get into the nitty-gritties of the tactics. So Chelsea basically are a team who concede a lot of chances from their right flank. So basically that is Arsenal's left flank. So which Arsenal players do you think people should target for their teams in order to exploit this weakness on the Chelsea defense?
Martinelli might start on the left if Arteta doesn't go as him as a sole number 9, which is also a possibility. But if Martinelli plays, he's somebody who's very creative, very dynamic, very straight. Now the battle is between him and Reece James. You know, it's one of those things. It's a mentality. Do I sit back and wait, or do I go and take the game upon the opponent? And I think it depends on the way you start. Also with Reece James, he always gets a little bit more security if Aspilicueta is playing, or if Christensen is playing over there, or Silva is on the right,
Right.
they always make sure, because they play with 3 defenders, they always make sure that Reece James or Alonso get more freedom.
Yeah.
But if Martinelli is dynamic and they make sure that they're going to attack this Chelsea side, then it's going to be a game to watch. I think more Reece James is not allowed to overlap and put in those crosses.
Yep.
Better for Arsenal. How they're going to do it, it has to be a brave move.
Right.
For how long they can do it depends on the way they're going to play. But it is not conducive for Arsenal if Alonso and Reece James are allowed to come forward and put on those crosses.
I also read something interesting about Arteta maybe opting for a 3 at the back formation in this match. In that case, you will probably have Martinelli playing as an inside forward with a rumored to be Saka on the left wing back. So that'll be very interesting to see if Arteta actually does go for a back 3 formation. Similarly, from an Arsenal point of view, they concede a lot of chances from their right and the left flank, more from the right. But actually, Arsenal have a left back problem.
Yeah.
And which players in the Chelsea team do you think can exploit that? Reece James, as you mentioned. What about the forward players?
Well, I think the way they play is they allow a lot of freedom and a lot of width to Reece James. You will hardly see, even if Werner plays, or even if Pulisic plays, or even if Mount plays, you will hardly see them going really, really wide, because they want to allow that space for Reece James to occupy. What they do very well, Pulisic or Werner or Mount, they make straight runs behind the defenders,
Right.
where the defense and the gap in midfielder widens, and they all call the opponent team calls everyone inside, because there is Havertz who plays as a number 9, or even if Lukaku plays and comes afterwards, and then there's Werner and there's Pulisic or Mount, whoever plays. Their runs straight dynamic are the ones which make sure that the opponent team has to bring everyone in. And that's where the Alonsos and the Reece James do really, really well, coming to that wide pockets and putting on the crosses. What they also do really, really well is, and I'm sure you must have noticed this, when Reece James is crossing, there is Havertz, there is Pulisic or Werner or Mount, and even Alonso joins in.
Yeah.
Because of the 3 defenders they have, and because they have Kante, who is here, there and everywhere, and Jorginho, who all sit back, they have a lot of freedom for the attacking side players, and also James and Alonso to go and join an attack.
Yeah, they overload
Yes,
the,
they do.
the attacking areas with their wing backs.
Especially
something-
because you have these 3 defenders who are very experienced, no matter who you choose. Rudiger, Christensen, Thiago Silva, Aspilicueta. You choose 3 out of the 4, and they're very experienced and they know exactly how to close the game.
Yeah, that indeed is very, very interesting. So, moving on to some picks you would suggest for this particular match. Who would be the one pick from Arsenal and Chelsea that would be on top of your priority list?
Well, the way they have played in the last 3 games, you cannot not think about Mount, where it's about scoring goals, getting into scoring positions, or making an assist. Reece James is always vital. I mean, sometimes you're watching the game and thinking, is he a right back? Is he? He's always there. The number of shots he gets is sometimes more than the front 3. Alonso has been doing really, really well. I think it's the last 3 games that he has played. Before that, he wasn't preferred.
Yeah.
Aspilicueta was playing there, and it probably didn't work. That's why they have brought Alonso, and I think he's a massive influence. His crosses, his defending. I think it's a complete package, and it's very good to see him play the way he's playing. So again, in Chelsea, there are many players who can make the difference. I'm also a massive fan of Havertz. I think people, or he doesn't get the kind of value he should. He's a complete package once again. Make sure that when he's not in the right position, he makes sure that he brings all the other players in the team. So I think we are being a little bit biased for Chelsea here. It's just because of the way they have played in the last 3 games. As far as Arsenal is concerned, I hope, again, for all the neutrals, that they come out all guns blazing. Saka and Martinelli are going to be very, very, very important for them. They are the ones who have to make sure that they don't give enough freedom for the likes of Alonso and Reece James. So I think for Arsenal, the important ones are Martinelli and Saka.
Right. So interesting you mentioned Havertz. He gives me proper Berbatov vibes. I mean, the hold up play, the touches,
Yes.
the finishing. He reminds me of Berbatov a lot. So just putting out a random question. Who do you think is the best fullback in the Premier League right now? Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and of course João Cancelo. It's a very difficult question. All 3 of them are having an excellent season. Who would be your pick?
Cancelo surprises me, man. Think about the thing. Reece James, you took a name. Arnold, both of them are right footers,
Yeah.
and they play right back.
Yeah.
And they've been outstanding. But this man over here, Cancelo, when Walker is not there, sometimes he plays on the right.
Yeah.
But generally, he's on the left side. And he cuts in on the right side.
Yeah.
And the number of shots and the number of assists he gets it's outstanding. Also because we think it's Man City, let's not talk about the fullbacks. They're always going to get chances. But just for the kind of numbers he produces, match in, match out for Man City is unbelievable. I think 1.5, 2 years back when we thought he's too erratic, his defending is not that great. But second part of the season last year and this year he's been outstanding. So I think all three are really, really good. But just because he's playing on the left and still producing, I would edge him a little bit more than Alexander Arnold. Even he's out. He's world class, man. He's world class. And even Reece James, although he had that the card issue and then he was injured.
Yeah.
But yeah, all three of them. But thank you for putting him on the spot. Cancelo then.
Reece James, even though he has missed a lot of minutes, he's still created a lot of chances. Only Mason Mount has created more chances than Reece James for Chelsea this season. So he has been obviously absolutely phenomenal. All three have been absolutely brilliant overall.
But I think the only catch is both Arnold and Cancelo are still proper fullbacks when they're playing 4.
Right.
But Reece James has a little bit more security because he plays in 3-5 and he always has the likes of the names that we've already taken.
Yeah.
So that gives him a little bit more freedom to go and express.
Right.
So here goes Reece James' points as compared to other two.
That's a good point. So we've talked about some important players from both teams. Who do you think are going to be the surprise packages? If you could pick out one player from each team who could be a big surprise package for this particular match, who could really do well, who would be your pick?
I think for me right now, it's Werner for Chelsea.
Right.
When Lukaku came, there were talks that he might want to leave Chelsea because, Pulisic, Mount, Havertz, all were thought about playing behind the striker role because Lukaku, we did not think then is going to miss any games. But now with Havertz taking the place of Lukaku, and then there was Pulisic, Werner or Mount, and now the last 2-3 games, the way he has played, I think he can make a difference. And I think he has found the right spot. When he was playing as a number 9, he wasn't clicking that much. But right now, just behind the striker, just behind Havertz, who is excellent in making space for Mount and Werner in the last couple of games, I think Werner might be one of them because excellent pace, has the experience, is world class, and now he has got in form. So I think yes, because we keep talking about Havertz and Mount has been producing left, right, centre. I think Werner is the one who might surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, I would agree with you with the Werner pick, especially because he's been in good form. He scored against Real Madrid. He also played really well against Palace in the FA Cup semi-final. There is something which is definitely clicked over the last 2-3 weeks when you talk about Timo Werner. Arsenal के लिए अगर आपको कोई player है जो surprise कर सकता है, आप किसे pick करेंगे?
मैं चाहूँगा surprise pick हो कि Lacazette आ जाए, क्योंकि ऐसे बड़े मैचों में and of course we don't know now. COVID हुआ था. I'm not sure because क्या होता है sometimes you're not affected that bad as compared to the other ones. And अगर ऐसा होता है तो you can still keep training in isolation and you can still be match fit to a certain extent. But हमें पता नहीं है. But I hope कि हम team sheet में Lacazette का नाम देखें because when it comes to these kind of games you need that experience.
Yeah.
And he brings that to the table. So I'm not sure whether he's going to start, but I just hope that we can see Lacazette in the team sheet.
Yeah, Lacazette has been very interesting this season. If you see the stats, उन्होंने बहुत ज़्यादा goals score नहीं करे हैं, but he has contributed a lot of assists. उनका style of play is basically he drops deep and connects play. So bringing in players like Saka, Martinelli, the overlapping fullbacks into play who have higher goal numbers this season. So Lacazette का जो role है, I feel has been very, very important, and I think that's a great pick for this particular match. If I had to pick an Arsenal player जो एक differential हो सकता है, I'd go for Martin Odegaard. He's someone जो once again has gone a little under the radar because Martinelli has suddenly exploded, Saka has been so consistent, etc. But Odegaard has been a very important creative spark for this Arsenal team, especially over the last 3 months or so. And he's someone जो I think काफी बड़ा impact कर सकते हैं in this match. So Odegaard would be my pick for this particular match.
That's a good pick. That's a good. And also, my only worry about Odegaard for this game is because they're not going to get a lot of balls. They're not going to get a lot of space against the Chelsea team. And he's somebody who thrives when he has a lot of touches, when he has a lot of because he plays between the lines.
Yeah.
But we know if there is one team who does not allow that in Premier League,
Yes.
is Chelsea.
Chelsea,
So
yeah.
that's the only reason I didn't pick.
Right.
But all the best with your pick.
Let's see what happens. So let's come to an end of this preview. What is your prediction for this match? If you had to predict a scoreline, what would that be?
Oh, now again, my friends who support Arsenal are going to kill me, but I think Chelsea are too strong right now. I think Chelsea will win this game. I hope it's not a clean sheet again for all the neutrals, but if Lacazette doesn't play, I do not see how Arsenal is going to bounce back because Chelsea are too strong right now. So I don't have a scoreline in my head right now, but I think Chelsea are too strong and they're going to win this game.
Just to put the recent head-to-head record out there, last 5 matches, Arsenal have won 3, Chelsea have won just 1, and there has been one draw. So although the recent head-to-head does not really impact the future matches, but somehow Arsenal have gotten the better of Chelsea over the last few seasons. So will be very, very interesting. Top 4 race के लिए एक बहुत ही pivotal match, a very, very important match. Thank you, Sunil, for joining me to preview Arsenal versus Chelsea. Should be a very, very exciting match.
It will be.
Thank you all.